Hey, our upgrade pace is looking solid right now, but I do think we need to push harder if we want to stay competitive. Here's the report.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Foxu98 here, and welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on my channel. Today, we are back with a brand new episode of our F1 2016 career mode. As you can see on your screens now, vehicle performance comparison, it seems that Haas F1 have brought some upgrades to their car, and that has actually dropped us below them in the development system. And Toro Rosso are there. Haas F1 are progressing well. We remain competitive, but we need to stay focused. And Toro Rosso are not competitive. Now, the reason that is because we've decided not to upgrade the car in Russia. And we're going to leave it for Monaco, where we can bring some downforce to the car. And then we're going to be looking to get an engine upgrade for the next few high-speed circuits. So, we haven't upgraded the car for Spain. But, we're definitely going to need to start looking at that. So if you ever go onto the laptop, then we have a look. As you can see, the rivalry there with Nico Rosberg, we're going to end up losing that rivalry because, we've got no chance of beating the Mercedes. If you have a look at the competitors update, we can see Mercedes have brought some upgrades to their engine. Haas F1 have also brought upgrades to their engine and their fuel consumption, hence why they have jumped us. If we have a look at the research and development, you can see that they have actually jumped back up in front of us. But we can bring pay to that. And what we want to really do is probably bring some more downforce to the car. And then we need to look at trying to get engine power. So it's going to be difficult to get the both. But hopefully we can stack up the resource points from this one. And then stack up all the points from Monaco. And then we can bring in that engine power upgrade. So we want to do downforce this weekend. And then we want to do engine power for the next race. If you look at the progress history. Oopsie. That's if we want to look at the progress history, we can see how everything's been going. Everything's staying stable. If we have a look at how we've been doing so far in the championship, we finished 6th in the first round. We finished 3rd in Bahrain. We won in China. Last episode, which was in Russia, we changed the difficulty to Legend AI. And that means that we started in 13th, I believe, or 15th, and we finished 8th, so not a bad result for our first race on Legend AI. And now we take ourselves over into Spain for this Grand Prix. But if you do enjoy this episode, drop a like rating, that will be absolutely awesome. Subscribe if you're new around here, and we're going to get into the practice sessions and the qualifying and the race, and they're going to be post-com as normal. So I'll see you guys then for the action on the track. Take care, peace. Alright then, guys, so as you can see, we're into the practice session for the Spanish Grand Prix. You can see it's a very wet practice session. We start off with the track accumulation practice session. Again, when you go around the track trying to learn the circuit, you can see we get 3 greens and the rest is purple, so we go and set a purple lap time, which is fine. We skip the tyre wear and we go straight to the hot lap thing, and you can see that I went massively wide into the first part of the chicane, cut the rest of the chicane, but for some reason it didn't penalise my lap time. I was expecting to get that penalised and have to go out again and set a new lap, but for some reason they decided that that was perfectly okay, so my target was straightforward. So we pick up the resource points then for that practice session, so nothing too crazy going on in the practice sessions. I completed practice 1 and practice 2 because in practice 2 it was dry, and as you saw in practice 1 it was extremely wet, so I didn't want to set a qualifying simulation out in the wet. It felt a little bit silly, but we go to the R&D development system now, or the research and development system, and we decide to bring in the monkey seat as part of the downforce upgrades for our car. Now, the reason for that, of course, we've got Monaco coming up next, so a very slow speed circuit, so we want to get as much downforce on the car as possible. We do not need to work on the straight line speed of the car. It's just not going to be needed. But we listen to our agent now, who has got some goals for us for this session, and she's going to see what she gives us. So there are the qualifying goals there on your screen, and that is what we're going to need to beat in qualifying. So hopefully we can do a good job here in Spain. We go onto the laptop now, and we're going to go straight into qualifying 1. So let's see if we can try and improve on where we are. So this is just the end of the cutscene here with Carlos Sainz having a cheeky chat with his engineer. We skip ahead then to the qualifying 1. As you can see, qualifying 1 is very close to being finished. Actually, I believe it is in about 20 seconds, I believe it is. And you can see I'm already on the 5th lap of my qualifying run. I was struggling like mad to get a good qualifying lap in for this Spanish Grand Prix, and I was really struggling. And ever since changing to Legend AI, I've been seriously struggling to qualify, and it's a very common theme. My qualifying is poor, so I just needed to get out. I'm currently P22, we're last at the moment, and yeah, we start 17th on the grid. We got knocked out in Q1. Yeah, Spain's one of those. It wasn't, and Jensen there. What a great result for Button. He starts P7 for the Spanish Grand Prix. We got knocked out in Q1. And the biggest problem for me, it's just Legend AI. Just really difficult. Not necessarily in the race. In the race, when I come up against Legend AI in the race, yes, I'm very defensive, but I can maintain my position. In qualifying, Legend AI is just impossible. I've been trying to just do qualifying laps in single players and not just in Championship, but everywhere else. And I find it extremely difficult to qualify high up the grid. So, unfortunately, we only qualified 17th. And you can see this is our rival with Nico Rosberg. We're guaranteed to lose every single rivalry we have with Rosberg at the moment because I don't even know why I've got a rivalry with Rosberg. It's completely stupid from the team to do that with my McLaren Honda. But we get the session goal from our agent, and of course, there they are on your screen. So really for me, it's all about just trying to damage limitation for this Grand Prix. We start 17th. It's been a shocking qualifying session, and yeah, let's just hope we get some more luck. Let's get to the race.
What does the Spanish Grand Prix have in store for us today, I wonder? I hope we see some tight wheel-to-wheel action down the main straight, circa Mansell and Senna way back in '91, or maybe we'll have a more strategic race here on a track where overtaking can be difficult. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. Anthony Davidson is here with me today. Together we'll be taking you through all the action of this Spanish Grand Prix. It can be hard for the cars to follow each other closely here due to the dirty air coming off the car in front, so perhaps we're looking at a more strategic Grand Prix act. What do you think on that?
I'm not too sure about that, Crofty. I mean, yes, as you say, it's hard to follow around here, but if you're brave on the brakes, you can get the job done down into turn 1, which is a medium-speed corner, so you have to be committed. And looking down at this grid today, I think we're going to see 1 or 2 drivers making a move from a long way back, maybe try to force their opponent into a mistake. I don't think this is a race that's going to be purely decided in the pit stops.
Keep your eyes open on the run to turn 1 and keep it clean. We want to come out in one piece. Good luck.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Nico Rosberg is on pole position today after coming out on top of a difficult qualifying. And it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, and Button, Raikkonen, Bottas, Kvyat, and Felipe Massa, Gutierrez, Sainz, Nico Hülkenberg, and Perez, Magnussen, and a McLaren, Felipe Nasser and Rio Haryanto, Wehrlein and Grosjean, Jolyon Palmer and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Alright then guys, so as you can see on your screens right now, you can see that this race is going to be starting off in the intermediate conditions, and as soon, like I said for the Chinese Grand Prix, if you remember back to the Chinese Grand Prix where we actually managed to win the race, yeah, it's intermediate conditions, and that only means one thing. That is just the wet weather gods coming in and showing a sign of relief upon me. I was so happy because there's one thing, right? When we've had a chance now to play the F1 2016 game for a bit of time now, and the one thing that I've spotted that's a little bit different on F1 2016 is the AIs are not that good in wet weather. Whether you're playing on Ultimate AI or beginner, the AIs are not brilliant in the wet, and for some reason that's just the case. And knowing that it's going to be wet was amazing. Now the point is last time we started 4th and we went on to win the race. Now we are starting 16th. So for some reason, so we need to win this race. And this was actually confusing because I qualified 17th. You would have seen that just as we were looking at the qualifying session. But for some reason I'm 16th. So I think someone's got a grid penalty. If so, then of course that's a little bit of a blessing because we've moved up a position. However, if it's glitched and I was actually P16, then surely I would have actually made it into Q2. And you never know, I may have been able to have put in a slightly better lap. And we could have gone a bit further up the grid. But most likely it was a grid penalty. I'm not quite sure who got a grid penalty. But nevertheless, we do start 16th. And on this formation lap, we just make sure everything's up to temperature. I know going down into turn 1, it's going to be difficult. We're going to be having cold tyres, cold brakes. And it's also wet. So we need to make sure that we just try and do the best we possibly can. It's going to be tough starting 16th, of course. But at the same time, I think all qualifying sessions, to be honest, coming through the rest of the season are going to be extremely difficult based on the fact that we simply do not have the 1 lap pace on Legend AI. We definitely have race pace against Legend AI, but we do not have 1 lap pace against Legend AI. So we're coming around now towards the final few corners on this formation lap, coming towards now the chicane for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's going to be a very good one. I hope anyway, yeah, as you can see there, we're now waiting for the grid to line up, and of course we're now actually going to be taking control of the computer. Now takes control, it's going to line us on the grid fairly, and then we're going to get ready for lights out. So the car's now lining up on the grid, and luckily we don't have to wait again as long because we were one of the last on the grid. So as you can see now, everyone getting on the grid. The tension build, the tension actually doesn't. They said to do this because tension builds, but I don't feel a lot of tension. But the black screen is on, and as you can see here, we have got 5 red lights about to go on. We now have 5 red lights. It is lights out, and away we go for the Spanish Grand Prix. A little bit of a decent start, a bit of wheel spin off the line, not to be honest. Kevin Magnussen with a shocking start, though. We're going to go right up into the slipstream of Hulkenberg, and you can see we are making sure we get the inside line. Forward down into turn 1, we brake super duper late indeed. Going straight in, a little bit of contact on the rear of Kvyat, nothing too major though. We are now up into 11th position. Carlos Sainz has taken us over again. That was kind of not really massive contact. You can see we go around the outside now of this difficult corner. Carlos Sainz really slow, so is Kvyat, and so is Massa as well, moving up to 9th position. Raikkonen down the inside. Can we make a move on Raikkonen? No, we decide to back out of it and wait another turn, but we have already had an electric start. 16th on the grid, and now we are already up into 9th position, and we are hunting down Raikkonen for his 8th place, and we go down the inside, and Raikkonen does nothing to defend, and that is going to be 8th place for us. And what a start already we have had in this Spanish Grand Prix. Next up on our hit list is Valtteri Bottas. We decide to have a little look around the inside. We think better of it, and we're going to wait for another position to try and have a run on Bottas. But again, the AI is not being that aggressive in the wet, and we are making full advantage of that, because it did say that it was going to get dry later on, so we need to make advantage of what we have. Bottas now, we're coming in the slipstream, down into the hairpin. Bottas backs out of it and gives us the position, and that is us into 7th already. That's 9 places made up in the first lap of this Spanish Grand Prix. Now, we really need to set our sights on further up the order. We've got Jenson Button up in 6th place, then the 2 Red Bulls. I believe it's Verstappen and then Ricciardo, followed by Vettel, and then I believe it's Rosberg, then Hamilton up front. But as we come around the final chicane now, we have had an absolutely fantastic start. P16 on the grid, and we are already up into P7, and we've already built a gap to Bottas already. You can see we have left them behind. We are going straight for the top of this Grand Prix. Coming down now to turn 1, Jenson Button's going to be next on our hit list as he comes round turn 1 and turn 2, and then towards this difficult long right-hander of turn 3. Going to be a very difficult one to get past Button. But let's have a look at the replay at the start then. So you can see as we get lights out, Rosberg gets a bit bogged down at the start, and I believe Hamilton takes full advantage of that. But we're going to wait further back till we get along. Yeah, you can see that Hamilton actually got in front of Rosberg. We move over to the right-hand side of the circuit. We then brake super late, go diving down on the inside there, and a little bit of contact with Kvyat, nothing major. It would have actually affected us more than anything. Kvyat probably didn't even feel anything from the rear of his car. We swoop right around the outside of turn 3 with the immense traction that we've got on the McLaren. We go around the inside of Sainz, Kvyat, and also Bottas in that move, and then we brake down in the inside. We try and have a look at Kimi Raikkonen, but we decided to go up against it. Sorry, we overtook Massa earlier on. We have another look at Raikkonen. We do a little bit of a dummy there, thinking that we was going to go to the outside line, but we actually went to the inside line, down the inside. Fabulous move on Raikkonen there, nice and clean, nice and fair, nothing wrong with that. And then next up, of course, was Valtteri Bottas, who was who we wanted to go for. You can see that we had a little bit of late braking maneuver, see if we could get past Bottas, but we just had to hold back. The Red Bull's now coming through. There's our teammate, there's Bottas, there's me now coming through this right-hander, down the second DRS zone, and into the hairpin we come now. And you can see there's our late braking move down the inside of Valtteri Bottas. He decides to back out of the corner. Didn't expect us to come raging through there, but we did. Raikkonen, I believe, also picked up a position from Bottas. No, Bottas did fend him off in the end. Raikkonen did go for a switchback there, but it didn't quite work. We've got Hamilton, Rosberg, Vettel, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Button, and then myself coming up the top, rounding up the top 6. So a very good start from us indeed. As we come now down, sorry, rounding up the top 7, because we're in 7th position at this moment. But you can see there, all coming across, and you can see Button, myself, Button actually being competitive as well, very high up the grid, and we needed to work on that. So we skip ahead back to where we were on lap 2 of the Grand Prix, and we are making sure we try and be as quick as we possibly can, going down into this difficult corner. We skip ahead now to the end of lap 2 on the Grand Prix, and we are right up on Jenson Button's tail. We go and hit the final curb, lose a little bit of the back end, but we have got tremendous slipstream on Jenson Button. We're going to move to the right hand side of the circuit, and that's going to be an easy move for us, and we're up into 6th place of this Spanish Grand Prix here on lap 3. What a great turnaround this has been from our qualifying session. Our qualifying session has just been put to bed, and we are making sure that we sort things out in the race for us. But we carry on now, and our next targets are the 2 Red Bulls. And guess what? We've closed up on them. Next up here, we've got Max Verstappen in the Red Bull, and we want to make sure that we make full advantage of this. We come down the straight now. DRS is disabled, so we do not have the advantage for DRS on Max Verstappen, but we have the late braking move right around the inside. Verstappen has to hold off the position, and we have done a brilliant move on him there. And you can see we are now up into 4th place. Is it 4th place? No, 5th place in the Spanish Grand Prix. An amazing overtake down Verstappen, and we're not done yet. Next up is Daniel Ricciardo. We need to try and chase him down, and then next is Vettel. So could we possibly get into a podium position by this point? But we skip ahead to lap 5 now of the Spanish Grand Prix. Daniel Ricciardo is next on our hit list, and we want to make sure we get this job done as quickly as possible. We're coming back to this same section that we have made all our overtakes so far. Down the back straight we go, and you can see we make another late braking move, just like Daniel Ricciardo does in real life, down into the hairpin, inside line. A perfect move from us there. Brilliant stuff, and we have made ourselves up into 4th place in the Spanish Grand Prix. We are just constantly making overtakes. Next up is Sebastian Vettel. Can we make a move on Vettel and get into the podium positions? There he is, going into the chicane. We just need to hang on. But we skip ahead to lap 12 of the Grand Prix, and the track is getting drier now. Track conditions are changing, and we've got 5 laps to go in this Grand Prix, but we need to pit and change for the dry tyres because it is getting too dry now. Intermediates are just not going to last, and that's exactly what we come do, and we decide to pit for the option tyres. So as we come round the final corner now, coming into the pit, you can see Verstappen, Ricciardo, and Raikkonen, and Button, I believe, all coming into the pits. So actually, Ricciardo's going to get held up by his teammate Max Verstappen, because you can see there, it's not going to work for him. But Hamilton and Vettel both come into the pits at the same time. In fact, Vettel's close right up on Lewis Hamilton, very close indeed. So we make the pit extend into from the option tyres, but unfortunately for us, Max Verstappen, you can see in front, has actually jumped us in the pit stops. So that relegates us to a net 5th place when everyone comes in and makes all of their pit stops. So really disappointed that we couldn't hold our position on Max Verstappen. But Max, I believe, went to the medium compound tyres. I've gone onto the quicker soft tyres, the quickest tyres compound available. For the main fact is I'm not competitive in the dry, and I know that. And Ricciardo and Verstappen were closing on me when the track was drying out. So I need to make sure that I'm on a quicker set of tyres so I can try and match the pace of the Red Bulls and the Ferraris here around Spain. And we can see we are already competitive. We go very, very strange line there. Down the inside of Verstappen, we don't make it work. We have to back out of it. and wait for another opportunity to arise. And you can see we are all over Verstappen right now. We're going to make a late braking move down the inside into this difficult hair chicane area. Verstappen not going to hold it off. He's going to back straight up into it. But we get the position straight, and that is fantastic for us. And we move back up into 4th position for the Spanish Grand Prix, and we now go around the ball with myself. You can see Verstappen there. He is closing slightly. We brake hard into the hairpin, but we've actually outbroken ourselves. We go very, very wide. Verstappen says thank you very much and goes straight back past us, and that's a stupid thing for us to do. We need to make sure that we try and get back on Verstappen's tail, so we try and focus it up into the final sector. We don't want to start losing time to Verstappen, so we just keep everything together. We brake nice and calm, make sure everything is fine through this final corner. DRS has now been re-enabled, so we give Verstappen a little bit of a push there through the chicane, just to, you know, tell him that we're right behind him and we do want to get past him. Through the final corner, we can see we stick right up with him. Perfect here now in the slipstream with the DRS. This is going to be an absolutely easy move. You can see it right there, straight past Verstappen, no problems whatsoever. And that is us going through. And Jenson Button is out of the race, actually. Our teammate Button has retired from the Grand Prix. I'm not sure. I tried to get a replay and see what happened to Button, but I don't really know. But we skip ahead now to lap 14, and Verstappen and Raikkonen have decided that it's time to attack the Fox. So we need to make sure that we are on the full defensive mode. You can see Verstappen and Raikkonen both getting the move done. We're going to brake super late going into turn 1. We slide it around. Verstappen has to hold off the position. He did actually have the position, even though we did a late braking maneuver, but somehow we managed to keep the position going, and yeah, it's pretty stressful. That was lap 15 of the Grand Prix. We've got 2 laps to go to try and hold off the assault, but we are back on the exact same lap, and this time Verstappen moves over to the right-hand side of the circuit. Ricciardo with the new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. We've got Raikkonen right behind us, going to move to the left-hand side of the circuit here, and it is all done, but we're going to go super late again into turn 1. We're going to force Verstappen wide, and yes, we are back in front. Lap 16, we have got now 2 laps to go of this Spanish Grand Prix. We just have to hold on. We're on the faster compound tyres, but they're probably wearing down. Lap 16, the end of the lap. Again, it is not over yet. Verstappen and Raikkonen want a bit of the piece of the action. We go very, very wide coming out of that final corner, lose the back end of the car. Verstappen once again goes to the right-hand side of the circuit, comes breezing past us. Nothing we can do about that. Raikkonen again going to the left-hand side of the circuit. And again, we do the same thing. We make sure we brake nice and late. Give Verstappen a little bit of a push, a cheeky little push to say, nope, you're not coming past. And lap 17 of this Grand Prix, we've got 1 lap to go. Gutierrez, out of nowhere in the Haas car, setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but we've just got to hold on. Braking down towards this is turn 4. Now we just need to hold on to our position, and then we have secured 4th, braking down into turn 5. Verstappen all over the rear of our car. This is the final lap of the race. We just have to hold on. If we can't hold on, we'll be dropping all the way down to like 7th place, so we don't want to do that. So we come through this difficult chicane area. We nail the second part of the chicane, not the first part, but we do lose the back end coming through now down towards the hairpin. This is the DRS zone. This is the final chance really I have to defend. Verstappen goes to the right hand side of the circuit. We stay to the left hand side of the circuit, break it into the hairpin, break it nice and late. We make sure that we don't outbrake ourselves into that corner. And as you can see, we have held on to the position. Rosberg with a new fastest lap, even if for some reason he would have won. There it is. Rosberg actually came through and won the race in the end. But we don't care about Rosberg winning the Grand Prix. We just care about starting. We started 16th in this Grand Prix. We are in 4th position. The wet weather definitely gave us the advantage for this Grand Prix. We're going to come through for an epic comeback in this Spanish Grand Prix. 4th position, a great result for the team. We started 16th, we finished 4th, we made 12 positions in that Grand Prix, 9 of them in the first lap, and we had to battle the Red Bulls and the Ferraris super hard throughout the whole Grand Prix, especially in the dry conditions, and that is going to be a brilliant result, a fantastic one for the team. I'm sure the McLarens will be extremely happy to be getting such a result, and it was a great result to be a part of. Fantastic driving. We had a lot of defending to do and a lot of attacking this time. A lot of the time you see me, it's a lot of defending, and then we come into the pits, and then we, you know, change tyres, and then we try and be quick again, and then we lose off the pit, whatever it is. But this time we seriously had the pace. Of course, it was the wet weather conditions, but we were able to go on the offensive this time rather than the defensive. So hopefully in this season, we get a lot more wet weather races so we can really cement ourselves at the front of the grid. But Romain Grosjean there finishing 12th doesn't look too happy indeed. Here they come then onto the podium. So there it is, Rosberg, Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel all picking up wins for picking up a podium. Rosberg somehow in the race managed to re-overtake Lewis Hamilton, and he went on to dominate the Spanish Grand Prix. A great result for him in this race. So you can see there are the champagnes flowing, but I'm sure we'll be having a drink or two back down in the McLaren garage because we finished 4th for the Spanish Grand Prix. So hopefully, yeah, like I said, we can have a lot more wet weather races because it's going to spice up the action and really bring us into play. But yeah, there we go. We started 16th and we finished 4th. An absolutely fantastic result for us. We couldn't have asked for anything more from this Spanish Grand Prix. If you did enjoy the race, drop it a like rating, that'd be absolutely awesome. If you are new around here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Formula 1 content. And yeah, we're just going to go through this, and then we're going to go through the drivers and constructors standings and see where we are in the resource points, I do believe. So, there you can see full classification of everything that happened. Rosberg really did dominate that Grand Prix, and we managed to keep Verstappen, Raikkonen and Ricciardo behind us. And moving on into the drivers' standings, we remained third in the drivers' standings with a good result. But Sebastian Vettel is closing in on us due to the fact that he actually finished third in front of us for that Grand Prix. So Vettel will undoubtedly somehow overtake us at one point, but Rosberg in the lead of the championship, and McLaren there still sitting comfortable in 4th position in the championship after, even though Jenson Button did DNF from the race. A little bit disappointing to see him DNF from the Grand Prix, but here are some more of the resource points that we got for that for the race. You can see we actually managed to get a lot of resource points there, 137, but and here is the update on the rivalry. You can see we're not going to beat Rosberg in this rivalry. We're just not. It's not going to happen. You can see he dominated in every single aspect. And that is us done there, and this is the driver position again. Don't really know what this means in terms of relevance, but we managed to get back up into the purple position of 10, so that's really, really good, and everything's sorted on there. And this is the career score. Again, no one really cares about this. I don't even know what the career score even means, if it has any purpose, but it just doesn't seem to have any purpose for me. So we're just going to continue with that, and that's it for the Grand Prix. So I hope you did enjoy it. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.